Welcome back, everyone. It's Math Coach Mary McCloskey again. Today is our fourth lesson of the Summer Learning for All video series. In these videos, we will show you some fun ways you can practice your math skills at home. This week's picture is from my trip to Switzerland up in the Swiss Alps. Seems pretty strange to see snow with all of our beautiful warm summer weather. Now, if you're interested in learning more about the places I have visited, feel free to email me. Let's get started. Here are some hangers with weights hanging on each side. What do you notice? What do you wonder? Take a little bit of think time. If you need more think time, hit pause and then restart the video when you are ready. Some things you might have noticed are that the triangle weighs more than the square. I can see that from that first hanger. And you might have noticed that 3 squares weigh the same as 1 triangle because that hanger is level. You might have wondered, how much does a triangle weigh? Or how much does a square weigh? Let's take a look at some follow-up questions. For each hanger diagram, I want you to find out one thing that must be true, one thing that could be true or false, one thing that cannot possibly be true. Go ahead and take some think time, hit pause, and hit play when you're ready to hear some answers. So for the left hanger, something that must be true is that the triangle is heavier than the square. Something that could be true or false is that the triangle could weigh 10 ounces and the square could weigh 6 ounces. Something that couldn't be true is that the square and the triangle weigh the same. For the hanger on the right, something that must be true is that 1 triangle weighs the same as 3 squares. Something that could be true or false is that 1 triangle weighs 3 pounds and each square weighs 1 pound. Something that couldn't be true is that 1 square is heavier than the triangle. What do you think will happen to each hanger if another square is added to both sides of the hanger? Go ahead and hit pause and hit play when you're ready to hear the answer. So I think the hangers will stay the same, since equal weight is being added to each side. If 1 green triangle weighs 12 and 6/10 grams, what is the weight of 1 blue square? Go ahead and hit pause and hit play when you're ready to hear the answer. So if I know that 1 green triangle weighs 12 and 6/10, and I'm trying to figure out the square and it takes 3 of them, I could take that 12 and 6/10 for 3, and I could divide it by 3 to figure out what each one would be. That would give me an answer of 4 and 2/10, because I could think about 12 divided by 3 is 4, 6/10 divided by 3 is 2/10. Put those together, I have 4 and 2/10 grams. Let's take a look at our mathematical mindset minute for this week. Questions are really important. I love when my students ask questions about math. Research shows us that question asking is linked to high achievement. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Most likely, there are other students in your class who are wondering the same thing. Some questions to ask yourself, other students, and the teacher are, why does that work? Why does that make sense? Can I draw that? How does that method connect to another? The more questions you ask yourself and others, the more connections you will make. That is how questioning is linked to high achievement. Let's take a look at today's lesson. For today's lesson and assignment, we're going to focus on cell phones. So many times I hear people talking about what cell phone they have, like if it's an iPhone or a Samsung, but what about cell phone service? Not all cell phone companies provide the same type of service. So how do you choose the right cell phone provider? There are so many of them, which one is right for you? So today we're going to talk about how to choose the right cell phone provider for you, and in your assignment, you will do some research to decide for yourself. So what do you need to consider when choosing a cell phone provider? Let's watch this video to see what we might want to find out before choosing a cell phone company.
Today is less about which provider to choose and more about how to go about choosing the right one for you. So we'll highlight the top categories we think you should be thinking about and which carriers excel and which ones don't in each one. So let's dive in. Now, normally we'd start with price, but in this case, let's talk about other things to consider first. Then we'll get to price last of all. First, figure out what you need, then figure out what you want, and then we can think about what it will cost to get you those things. So, first up, coverage. That thing you carry around in your pocket may be a miraculous supercomputer capable of connecting you to the sum of human knowledge in the blink of an eye, but first and foremost, it's a phone. And if you can't place a phone call with it, then it's failed already. Now, it would be easy to tell you that Verizon has the best coverage and that Sprint's is the least best. But that doesn't actually tell you much, since coverage from each provider will vary based on location. So whichever provider ends up looking most attractive to you, just make sure you check how its coverage is in your area. Each provider will give you some way of knowing how their coverage is where you are, usually through an interactive map or something like that. But don't just check your home, also check coverage where you work, at any frequent stops around town, and in any other areas that you visit, like out-of-town relatives. Speed on cell phone plans refers to download speed, or how quickly you can access data online. It's easy to just assume you want the best, of course, but the speediest option may not be what you actually need. Then again, maybe it is. It really just depends on what you'll be doing with your phone. If this is just a convenient brick in your pocket, then for heaven's sake, don't pay extra for the fastest download speeds money can buy. But if you're constantly on your phone, browsing online, you're on social media, streaming music or video, then yes, speed will be an important consideration for you. In that case, it's nice to know that, again, Verizon tops the list with Sprint pulling up the rear. But sort of like coverage, looks can be deceiving here. So make sure you check those same maps from any providers you're considering to be sure that you know what you are going to get in your area. Sprint may have the lowest average speeds, but they actually do really well in a lot of urban areas. So you may be able to get what you want a little cheaper if you're willing to look around a little bit. If speed is important to you, then data caps will be as well. Data caps refer to how much data you're allowed to use each month before you're charged more or your download speeds are slowed way down. Now, this is a tricky subject because with a lot of family plans or prepaid plans or what have you, it's pretty simple. You sign up for a 6 gigabyte per month plan or whatever, and you get that amount of data each month. Some plans have rollover allowances or other little things to pay attention to, but the general principle is simple. You get whatever you signed up for. Unlimited plans, though, can be a little trickier. When they say unlimited data, they really do mean that, but with an important caveat. Each provider has a cap within their unlimited plans, and if you reach that cap, you're not cut off from data, but your speed can be slowed way, way down if your carrier thinks it's necessary for the network. So if you're going to be using your phone pretty constantly, especially for streaming music and video, then it's good to know that not all unlimited plans are created equal. When we talk about unlimited data, T-Mobile comes out on top with 50 gigabytes before any possibility of throttled speeds. Each other provider, though, does either a little less or a lot less, as you can see. So if you're looking for as much unthrottled, unlimited data as you can handle, you know where to go. Again, it's easy to just say what's ranked number one and go with that, but it's not always that simple. Sprint may be the lowest priced carrier generally, but as we've already noted, they tend to lag behind in coverage and speed compared to their competitors. So if you need more of that other stuff, be prepared to pay more for it as well. We could make an entire series of half-hour videos trying to untangle the complex web of pricing for mobile carriers, but instead let's keep it simple. With the important caveat that a lot depends on what type of plan you go for, how many lines you need, and so on, we can say that as far as the top 4 carriers go, you'll generally find lower prices with Sprint than any of the others. T-Mobile does pretty well in the rankings, while AT&T and Verizon tend to bring up the rear. One honorable mention I'll throw out, though, is to T-Mobile, which includes all of its fees and taxes in the sticker price. which in an industry famous for convoluted bills is worth quite a bit in my book. T-Mobile actually gets another shout out when it comes to perks as well. Perks for a cell phone plan are those little things a carrier will do to try to entice you over to their side. So for T-Mobile, that includes free Netflix if you get an unlimited plan with 2 or more lines. Plus, they also have some excellent in-flight and international benefits for frequent travelers, that sort of thing. Sprint can do unlimited plans with access to Hulu. AT&T owns DirecTV, so their unlimited plans come with excellent discounts on DirecTV Now. Verizon has a new program called Verizon Up, which can get you all sorts of perks through credits, which are earned every time you spend a certain amount on your bill. And as the most expensive carrier out there, accumulating credits is pretty easy. Anyway, you get the idea. I probably wouldn't use perks as the primary consideration when shopping for cell phone plans, but if you're on the fence between a couple and you just need something to kind of knock you over to one side or the other, then check out what sort of little perks each plan offers and maybe let that sway you. Now, we do a lot here at reviews.org to try to get to the bottom of each of these categories and a lot more when we do our reviews. So as you consider what you need when it comes to coverage, speed, data, and price for each carrier, make sure you check out our individual reviews of each company to understand what you'll get with as much detail as possible. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you on the next review.
Wow, there are quite a few things to keep in mind. It sounds like with all the choices to consider, you need to figure out what works best for you, for your budget and your cell phone needs. So your assignment this week will allow you to do just that. So let's take a look. Your assignment this week is to research different cell phone companies and decide which provider is best for you. So the 3 companies you will choose from are Boost Mobile, Sprint, and AT&T. And I want you to assume that you're only going to be looking for one line. So the first thing you're going to do is research the following for each company. Take a look at their coverage. Find the coverage maps on each site and check the coverage for your area and places that you might travel. Determine which companies work best in your area. You may need to go to the search bar on the website and type in coverage maps if you cannot find them in the menu options. You're then going to take a look at the plans. You're just going to choose from unlimited data, talk, and text plans, but I want you to determine which level of unlimited plan you need and compare the plans that are most alike across the companies. Keep in mind the cost of each plan, the speed you need, and the data caps for when the unlimited plans will slow down. Then I want you to take a look at the phones and choose a phone and determine the cost of that phone for each cell phone company. You can also take a look at the perks. So what perks does each company offer? Are you interested in any of them in particular? So after you've done your research, you're then going to determine which company, phone plan, and phone you will choose. What will be the cost of the plan and the phone you're going to choose? Explain why that company, plan, and phone are the best for you. Last, you're going to send your conclusions to the following email, johnsonma@kalamazoopublicschools.net. You can send them using a Google Doc, Word doc, or take a picture. You can come back to this video as many times as you need. Come back to the Summer Learning for All website for our last video next week. See you next time. Thanks for watching.